Good morning everyone, TJ here. Today we're out at Copper testing the Endeavor Rover snowboard. Let's check it out. All right guys, real quick for your reference before I jump into the tech in this snowboard. I'm 5'10", I weigh around 155 pounds, and I tested the Rover in size 155. Now this board is part of the Director series on the Endeavor lineup, and it is a freestyle focused snowboard with a skate inspired design. It's got a little bit of an extra kick in the nose and tail that's kind of an homage to what you would see on just your classic skateboard shape. It's a true twin, of course, and it runs a camber dominant profile. It's kind of like a camrock profile, but really it's pretty much full positive camber through the whole body of the snowboard. And then just a few centimeters before the contact points, you'll find a little bit of early rise reverse camber. So that's just gonna mellow things out a little bit, give you a little bit more leverage when you're leaning into the nose or tail. But overall, this board is gonna have a lot of precision and a lot of energy and snap with that traditional camber feel. Now there are a few more things I want to highlight in this snowboard tech-wise, but before I get into that, let's talk about the most noticeable part of the design of the snowboard, which is this full channel that you find running down the snowboard. So if you're looking for something that's going to open up a little bit more creativity, give you literally any stance option that you want, you can go full nose rider, full back on the tail, super wide, super narrow, whatever you want to do. Something that I think could be a lot of fun playing around on powder days, playing around late season in some slush. If you have any weird ideas with your stance you wanted to try, this is a board that's gonna unlock that for you. So that's pretty cool, and that is one of the big highlights of the boards in the Director series on the Endeavor lineup. But other than that, there is a lot of great tech built into this snowboard that is kind of in line with their Legacy series. If you're familiar with those boards, I've highlighted the BOD and the Archetype Legacy on the channel in the past. Those are two of my favorites. So let's talk about the phone on top sheet. So it's basically a continuously laminated, pre-tensioned fiberglass top sheet that's going to help amplify the energy you're going to find in this snowboard, as well as full tip to tail carbon beams. So this board does have a lot in it to help give you more snap, more pop, and more energy to work along with that camber dominant profile. Other than that, you're gonna find Endeavor's Smooth Ride urethane sidewalls. So that's the same material that skateboard wheels are made out of for the sidewalls in the snowboard that are gonna help dampen things out, dampen that chatter, mellow out vibrations, and give you a smoother ride as you're cruising around the resort. It also runs what Endeavor calls their ISO-Speed 7500 sintered base. So that is a very dense, high-end base material that's tougher and faster versus an extruded base. You do want to make sure to wax this board regularly, like any sintered base, to maintain a nice, consistent glide with that optimal feel that you're looking for. And that's it for a quick tech breakdown on this snowboard. Let's get into how this thing felt around the resort. Okay, so I was able to test this board out at Copper, as well as get some late season laps in at Mammoth. And at 155 pounds, I am on the lower end of the weight range for the recommended weight for this snowboard. And flex wise, this thing felt like a pretty solid mid flex, maybe even just a hair on the stiffer side of medium. You can definitely still get some flex out of it, but I felt that it offered a lot of stability, still was very capable around the resort, and had a good bit of precision as well. That was something that I was a little surprised by with the Rover, and I think makes it a lot of fun for exploring outside of the park as well, even though this is more freestyle focused. You can have a lot of fun on this snowboard with flat tricks and butters around the resort as well. I think it does give up some good flex. I think that early rise and the tips do give you more leverage and offer a pretty good feel if you're just trying to like sit in a nose press, sit in a tail press. You do have to work for it a little bit, you know, fighting against that camber and that flex that I had mentioned, but it's still a good time for that, and it's not very catchy, which is critical if you're really trying to slide around on the snow. So if you enjoy that, I think you'll have fun on the Rover, and it still comes through with some great energy and snap as well. I think, you know, pop is directly related to the flex you're gonna find in a snowboard. And I think that the Rover is gonna match what you would expect, but even amplified a little bit more with that carbon in the phone on top sheet. This thing does have some good pop. And when it comes to getting park laps, riding with a more freestyle approach and working on freestyle and park progression, the Rover sits pretty happily in the middle of the road. It's one of those boards that you're gonna have a good time regardless of what you throw at it. You're trying to have a jib day, work on a new tail press variation or something like that, it's gonna offer that comfortably. Or you wanna hit some jumps, you wanna add that extra 180 to whatever spin you're working on, you're gonna be able to step up to some pretty big features confidently on this thing as well. This is a board that's just a solid all-arounder when it comes to park laps. And as far as cruising, exploring the resort, and carving, I think you're gonna get a little bit more than you bargained for out of the Rover. Two specs I wanna mention for you guys are the waist width, so it's size 155, you're gonna find a 25.4 centimeter waist, as well as a side cut, which is gonna be 7.6 meters at this size. So both pretty average and very versatile for a freestyle focused snowboard. But what surprised me about the Rover is the precision that you're gonna get out of this thing. This thing locks in very well. It holds a very strong edge. And you know, I rode this in pretty late season, heavy slush conditions out at Mammoth, and it was able to power through that snow comfortably. It never felt squirrely underfoot, never felt like I was getting pushed around. You know, you're gonna get smoother turn initiation with that reverse in the tips, but it really does come through with that more locked in, powerful camber feel. So I think that you know, aside from being just very versatile and capable in the park, that translates around the resort pretty well also. I don't think that you're really gonna find you're limited in that regard with this snowboard. Of course, if you do ride with like a straight up free ride approach, you're going balls to the wall as fast as you can on this thing, you're gonna be able to overpower it. But even when I opened it up, I didn't really find any chatter in the tips. It felt solid underfoot, and I was very impressed with the strong edge hold you're gonna find in this snowboard. It did a pretty good job smoothing out that choppy snow as well. Now, I wish I would have had the chance to take the Rover out in some deeper snow conditions. I feel like with this tip shape and that reverse blend in the tips, this thing would actually be pretty fun as kind of like a powder twin style snowboard. It's not particularly wide, but I just think with this crazy channel and that tip shape, it'd be a good time. So maybe later in the season, if I get an opportunity, I'll try to get it out this year. But overall, if you're looking for something that's just a very versatile twin, gonna help you with freestyle progression, has a good feel for butters and presses, and is still capable around the resort, carving, exploring, all those types of things, I think the Rover is gonna be a really cool one to check out. I will say if I was gonna buy this snowboard, I would probably downsize to the 153. I think that would just be a little bit more maneuverable, have a more skate-like feel, would be more fun on the jibs, but would still have the stability and the versatility to be fun everywhere else. So hope you found this review helpful. If you wanna check this snowboard out in more detail, I'm gonna have it linked down below, as well as a link to the latest issue of Snowboard Mag. I appreciate you guys. Let me know what you think about the Rover down in the comments, what you think about this full channel system and what you would do with it. Make sure to drop a like before you leave if you got some value. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you in a new review next time.